Okay, we're gonna do some fiberglassing. I know this is not a great shot, but I can show the products. So these are some pretty good products. Total Boat. I've used them before. They're and I heard some great reviews about them, and I tried it out, and they are awesome. So one thing that I found is that ripping, some people cut the fiberglass to the right size, but ripping it is much more effective because it makes it so that these little ends here will it'll be more of a blend into the rest of the boat, rest of the whatever it's attaching to, rather than a straight line. Although I might leave this line just because it's one less thing to rip. Or I might fray it later, but right now I'm just gonna kind of rip it this way. Okay. Before we start fiberglassing, whoops, before we start fiberglassing, we need to mix our epoxies and hardener. And I have this container which is empty, but it has a measuring section here, which makes it easier for me to mix. And then when I am done with it, I kind of just have it tipped upside down on the ground, so all the remainder will drip out, and so it won't harden at the top, it'll just harden at the bottom, so I can reuse it another time. So we're going to do 5 parts of this and 1 part of this. Once we have it sized, then we go and put it in a container. I just got a yogurt container that I emptied out, and you pour it all in. Then it's recommended to mix it for 2 minutes. So now we've mixed it, and let's go and let's do it. Hey guys, so I've put some fiberglass on the keel, and then I ran out of epoxy, and you can see over here I have some the epoxy, but then over here where it's loose and not so dark, I ran out of epoxy. So I'm gonna have to continue on and put some more epoxy on, and I'm gonna have to sand out some of the bubbles in this because there are quite a few. Okay guys, so I fiberglassed the keel, but I had to do the first time I fiberglassed it, I ran out of epoxy resin and hardening, and so I have these spots like right here that are bubbles, huge bubbles, and these are all hard, so I can't bend them down. Excuse me. So what I'm gonna have to do is, once it's hard, I'm gonna sand it again. Oh well, I'm gonna sand it and take out the bubbles and put some more epoxy, the resin and hardener on it, and yeah, it's more work than I thought it was going to be. Hey guys, this is my keel. I fiberglassed it, and you can see part of the fiberglass had some bubbles, and so I had to remove from here there's the fiberglass and here there's not. I had to remove parts of it that had bubbles. There was a lot of bubbles. But then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take some epoxy and just paint it on here. So I did that, and then I came along and I sanded a little bit on the edges, and it still looks really bad. And so I think I know I'm going the cheap route, but I think I'm going to just take some putty and putty on these edges here, and then paint over it so that it'll be smooth. But I am struggling with this right now. But this is the Keel. But it's holding together, that's for sure. The fiberglass is really holding on to it strong, and but I'm worried about when it's in the water will push up in here, cause leverage, and open it up, and after a while just pull it all apart. So that's why I want to put a little putty in there, smooth it out. And there are some parts that there still is a little bit ledge in there, like underneath with some bubbles, and it's just this causing to be a problem. But we're gonna work on this, and we're gonna get it done. So I am going to be fiberglassing the Keel a little bit more, and also fiberglassing the hull a little bit. So I found the remember in the past video where I had to cut out some of the bubbles in the fiberglass. Well, some of the bubbles were underneath here, not there, but over there. I just can't reach it, and so I had to cut that out, and I tried just doing a layer of epoxy, and the epoxy, it just wasn't it wasn't good enough. Like, it wasn't solid enough. So I decided to go and today I'm going to lift the trailer, because underneath right where the Keel is resting on the trailer, that's where I need a fiberglass. So I'm going to put some fiberglass on there, make it stronger, because this edge is where the boat is more likely to hit things, and so we have to make sure that that's strong. So we're going to lift the boat off the trailer, fiberglass this edge right here, and then we also, oh, I should have, way over there where that rope is, there is the hull is rubbing, and so we're going to be fiberglassing right there as well, and then we'll sand a little and be ready for paint. Okay guys, I just wanted to let you know that that was the worst fiberglassing job of all time. But even with it being the worst ever, it turned out okay. We'll know tomorrow though when it dries. Because of the cold weather, it takes a lot longer for it to dry, but I totally ran out of, like, I didn't have enough epoxy, and which meant I had too much fiberglass. So I started like ripping off the fiberglass as much as I could for the places that I thought I wouldn't need it. And then I started to just keep dabbing, brushing and dabbing. The brushing is more of, it's not an effective method. Brushing it is not the best way to fiberglass. But then once I got it on, like once the fiberglass was secured on, then I started dabbing, and I just dabbed it for ever. For seemed like 20 minutes, half an hour. I just kept dabbing the fiberglass with my brush, with the epoxy. Fortunately, it's cold weather, so it didn't harden as quickly, and so I had more time to keep dabbing it. But even though this was the worst fiberglassing job, don't do what I did. It turned out okay, and so I guess that means if you have enough time and enough persistence, you can make anything work.